Greetings from Lickskilling. This is Mr. Mad Mick 15. It has been quite a while since my last video. I think it's been about 5, maybe 6 years. But I've had a lot of encouragement and pushing and prodding to start making some more videos. So I'm gonna try to make some more. Not giving any promises, but I have my lovely daughter as the camera person, I guess we call it. Camera person, and she's going to help with the editing and the production. So all I got to do is stand here and talk, which running my mouth is pretty easy for me. But I just wanted to give you a slight intro of what is fixing to come up. Last weekend, which was July 22nd, I taught at Lake Junaluska with a good friend of mine, SkinnyMedic. He also has a YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with him, which I have no idea why you would not be, go over and check his channel out. But this is me and him talking at a conference. He's showing the good stuff that you should have. Kind of like your top tier frontline stuff, and I'm showing you the MacGyver improvised kind of stuff you can use. But I think you might find it interesting, and if you do, come on back to the channel. Hopefully for more videos in the future. Thank you. Me and SkinnyMedic, I've been, let's move that table. Okay. We've been talking together for, I don't know, these conferences, what, they haven't made a decade nearly, probably, a while. And we've always been in competition, I guess you might say, friendly competition, because he always is selling or teaching you the good stuff. And I totally agree with everything he sells. I own everything he sells. Well, I get it cheaper. Anyway, someone else. Now that's a lie. But the stuff he sells is the stuff I use. That's first line. That's first, second, and third line. But we thought it would be fun to show you the stuff that you should have on hand. The stuff you should be buying, the stuff you should be storing, the stuff I'm buying and storing. But on the other hand, I'm going to show you, if you've got neighbors down the street, neighbors down the road, kin folks that don't have nothing, when something happens, you could go to them and say, listen, you can do this and it will work for this. Or you can supplement this for this. But don't take anything I'm showing you as something, oh, I don't need to buy this, I can do this. That's a mistake. What I'm showing you is MacGyver type stuff. He's showing you stuff you better have. So without further ado, Mr. SkinnyMedic.
So like Richard was saying, the Boston City Marathon, when that happened, am I on? I'm on now? Yeah, I have to yell. I talk loud and I talk fast. I apologize. So when the Boston City Marathon occurred, there were no commercial tourniquets used in that bombing aftermath. They were all improvised. Now, when every single patient that had an improvised tourniquet got to the hospital, they realized that none of them actually were tourniquets. They were just fancy pressure bandages. None of them actually fully stopped the blood flow in the arms or the legs. But for every patient that made it to the emergency room alive, none of them died afterwards. So if you made it to the emergency room, you were going to survive. So although no commercial tourniquets like the cat tourniquet were applied, they all used bandanas, belts, and things like that. They worked. So like Richard was saying, I'm going to tell you what plan A should be, what your plan A should be, but you should always have a plan B and a plan C, because every time you go into plan A, that's all you have, and inevitably something screws up. It doesn't happen. So we've been talking about doing this for a few years now, so because he always interrupts my class when I'm at Harry's Life Skills or something like that, he'll come in there and he's got a tampon or something to show me. So, so we've been talking about doing this for a while, so we'll go at it and we'll see what happens.
You start, I'll counter.
Alright. Well, let's go with the tourniquet first since we talked about tourniquets.
Okay.
So commercial tourniquets. There's a lot of misinformation out there about tourniquets and a lot of old information about tourniquets about, if you put a tourniquet on, the leg's going to fall off or the person's going to die. That really has come a long way now. Our trauma surgeons in the hospital setting have come a long way. So to put a tourniquet on someone doesn't necessarily mean they're going to lose their arm or lose their leg. Now, this is for, oh my gosh, that's a lot of blood. I have a t-shirt for that. So this goes on arm or leg. It's a self-application. I like a cat. There's a soft T. I've got 8 different tourniquets that I'll talk to you about. But this one goes on, locks down. I turn the windlass until bleeding stops. So if this is squirting bright red blood, I can put this tourniquet on in just a few seconds and stop the blood flow. I've got the cat tourniquet here, and then the soft T is a metal one. Some people don't like it because it's plastic, so they use the metal one. So this is a metal one. All right.
I have a rubber band. You just laugh. Did anybody see Lone Survivor?
Yes.
When the guy got his finger shot off? How you gonna put a cat on a finger, man?
Not everyone play.
You got a cravat I can use. You can tell somebody to use one of those. Stick, the old Boy Scout manual type. Just a bandana. That'll work. Shemagh. That'll work. Ratchet strap. I got a ratchet strap. Those work really well. Just a ratchet strap. That'll work as a tourniquet. Belt. You can use a belt as a tourniquet. Those will work well. Duct tape.
Duct tape will fix everything.
Duct tape.
The nuclear duct tape,
When
apparently.
you're bandaging, I'll actually tell you a good story about duct tape. But that'll work. But I do have cat tourniquets. And Old Grouch sells these little tourniquet pouches. They're awesome. So, but I do have the real stuff.
And that's one of the things too people talk about is they're going to use the 550 cord. 550 cord is too narrow. It actually will cut into the muscle. So if you think you're going to pull out your 550 cord from your survival kit and start trying to wrap it around and make a tourniquet, it actually will just cut into the muscle instead of trying to collapse the muscle. Because what you're trying to do is the muscle mass, like I have little chicken legs, so it wouldn't take very much to make a tourniquet here. Someone has bigger legs, such as Richard here, takes more around. So what you're trying to do is collapse that muscle around the artery to the bone and cut off blood flow. So the wider the bandage, the less pressure it takes to actually do that. So take for instance like I just had it here and I lost it.
What do you have? I might have it.
My SWAT team. I had it here.
Your what?
SWAT team tourniquet. Dang, good, I had it.
Back on the table back there.
Where?
Got it back on the table back there.
Yep. SWAT T tourniquet is a big rubber band tourniquet, and it doesn't have a windlass, but it I thought it must have.
It's pretty nice.
It is pretty nice. So, like this tourniquet works well for kids.
Can I have that because it's used?
So this one is a SWAT T tourniquet. So this one works really well for kids. It doesn't have a windlass. The windlass is the rod here that's going to spin to tighten the tourniquet up. This one doesn't have it. It's a big tire. Basically, it's a big inner tire tube. So this can pull tight for kids because they don't have a lot of muscle mass. It works fantastic. If I were applying the tourniquet to you guys, it works fantastic because I have both hands to work with. If I'm applying it to myself, it doesn't work so well because there's no way that I can really get that first wrap. And one of the things we talk about a lot of times too is under stress. You guys are practicing your firearms. You know that your muscle memory is not the best when you're under stress. Your fine motor skills aren't the best when you're under stress. So trying to do those little fine motor skill movements are going to be tough. So practice with your tourniquet and get familiar with it. When you buy the cat, just do not buy them off eBay or Amazon. Okay? Pretty much all the ones that are buying off eBay and Amazon are counterfeit. They're fakes. So what happened was these kids are playing airsoft. They want to like real cool operators. So they want to put their cat tourniquet on their vest as they're playing airsoft. and you get hit. So you pull out your fake cat, you put it on, you're like, all right, cool, I'm back in the game. And you start shooting again. Well, what happened was these people said, man, I can, instead of spending $30, I can spend $5 on this cat off eBay, Amazon, and save myself some money. And what happens is they break. The little windlass right here snaps in half. You can take it and bend it, and it makes a U shape. And so that's what you're using to create force. So if it breaks, your tourniquet is useless. So buy your cat tourniquet from a dealer that you know, a reputable dealer. All right?
Think about tourniquets, and we've had this talk many times, because I've aggravated him about tourniquets, you know. And tourniquets have their place. Tourniquets are awesome. Tourniquets have saved a lot of lives, continue to save lives. But when you're talking grid down, there's no help coming. There's no next level. There's nothing. It's you, cousins, family, uncles, whoever. And what you've got's all you got. This probably is not going to save your life. Because if I take a bad cut in the leg, lose a leg, arm gets shot off, whatever, this will do to where you can make it right with your God, and then I don't know what from there. Because you lose a leg and I put a tourniquet on it, we're going to have to get you to a trauma center. We're going to have to pump you full of whole blood, and it's going to be extensive. But this is not going to save a life in the long run in a grid down situation. Grid down's a dark time, and I mean that on many different levels. But while the grid's up, these things are friggin' awesome.
Yeah, when I go to prepper groups and things like that, and I do consulting, I talk to them about it, they get kind of pissed at me. Because I'm like, all right, this is what's going to happen in trauma. And hopefully this never happens, really bad things never really happen. Going, all right, someone losing a leg. Are we going to do surgery? Are you going to pull your tent up and do surgery? Probably not. I haven't met a group yet that's ready to do trauma surgery. Okay, yeah, you can say I'm going to pull up the hacksaw and cut a leg, but I'm here to tell you guys, and I think I've got some pretty good sources to back it up, is the fact that if you try that field amputation in the field, under your tent, in your backyard, you're going to get an infection. And you're going to get septic, and you're going to die in 2 weeks. Okay, so right now in the United States, the way the current health system is set up, if you get called septic, it means it's a super infection from a UTI, pneumonia, skin infection, cellulitis, anything. You get diagnosed with septic, you have a 50% chance of dying right now. So that's with all the IV antibiotics, all the cool fancy antibiotics we can do in the ICU, CCU stuff. If the grid's down, that's going to skyrocket. People are going to die just from UTIs. I mean, we talk about the cool trauma stuff, and that's fun. People are going to die from UTIs. That's what it's a reality. All right, so let's talk.
You amputate a leg, the only thing we can do with it is a propane torch.
Lots of whiskey.
It's about it, propane torch.
All right, what are we going to do next? We're going to do?
Go ahead.
All right, so pressure bandages. I could do 8 hours on an Israeli bandage. I can, if you guys have heard me talk at Heritage Life Skills before, Prepper Camp, I can do a whole class on an Israeli bandage. You can bandage a head all the way down to your toes just using one bandage. Most people's bug out bag weighs about 75 pounds. You're not bugging out the parking lot with it, to be honest. So if you could take one bandage and do a lot with it, why not? So some of this is lightweight, portable, things like that. So I like an Israeli bandage for that. I'm going to show you my new favorite bandage. If you took my classes before, you know my Israeli bandage is my favorite one, but this was a different one. This is the Elias bandage here. Same concept. You have an elastic band that goes around, trimming your arm, whatever you want. Has an eye cup right here. So this actually will put pressure down. When you got to put it on, that eye cup puts direct pressure where you need it to be. Also, it's an eye cup, so you can put it on your eye if you need to. The bandage comes with more compressed gauze already inside of it. So if you need just to stuff into the wound to get bleeding stop, it's there. This bandage also comes with this piece of plastic. Okay, women, why do we put stuff in Ziploc bags? But we put it in the freezer. Keep what out? keep the air out correctly. So if we're trying to keep the air from going here, and we want to go in and out of our throat, that's what this does. Whoop. Put some duct tape on there, put a glove, and you have a chest seal. So all this is in one bandage. So I would take a look at this bandage, Elias bandage. Elias, O-L-A-E-S. O-L-A-E-S, I spelled that correctly. I'm from South Carolina, so I talk a little faster than you guys.
Yeah, but you can't use the big words.
Yeah, I can't spell it. Alright, show off your fancy bandage there.
Okay. I've been talking with Arthur, and me and him's been going over some stuff and asking questions. And, it's had me setting in a mindset of like the UN invades, the old Red Dawn scenario where we go to the mountains, fight the UN. Well, it's had me kind of thinking in that way. Well, if a situation like that arose, we would not be able to get Israeli bandages. So I'm going to have the world premiere of the Patriot bandage. The Patriot bandage is this. It is a maxi pad. I'm a huge fan of maxi pads. He makes fun of me, but I'm a huge fan. This whole box right here is like $11 at Wally World, and this is the naval aviator version because it says it has wings right here. So, flies or not, I'm not sure. But anyway, we're actually going to make a video on this later, I think. Basically what this is one maxi pad, and I cut it in half. I'll show you how to make it. Ain't gonna take long. There we go. Basically what I did is open it up. That thing's huge.
Is that for your heavy days, or?
You're poking me with a stick. I'm in front of the family audience, okay? Just saying. What I did is I cut it here and cut it there, and then folded it back over itself. So I got double thickness. I sewed it up into a little square. Square right there, that's double thickness. If you will step up here with mine. This is Vanna White, by the way. This is our Vanna White of the day. I'll show you, the key to this bandage is kind of like the Israeli. So if I couldn't afford or didn't have one of them fancy little plastic clips, so I took it and did this and tied a knot in it. The loop is the secret to the Patriot bandage, because I can stick one foot out further. So I can place here, place direct pressure. I can wrap it around. I bring it back through the loop and cinch it down. And that loop is put direct pressure right on the wound. It's the same as my finger sitting there holding it. And then, it's just a simple case, I'm wrapping it around. And I've made the Patriot bandage. And it's made from nothing more than a maxi pad, a little piece of rag, and a bed sheet. That's all it is. And I can even, I've even got one that I put in an assault pack. It's in a food saver bag. And when you vacuum seal something like that, make sure that you have the ability to do this. I can't do it. Worst side. I thought I cut it all the way around. There you go. But make sure that you can tear it open with your mouth. I can't do it.
Can I show you a better trick than that?
What's a better trick than that?
All right, guys.
That ain't working.
So he has little tears right here.
Right.
Just, I know you can't see it, but there's a tear here, there's a tear here. Take just duct tape over there, put a duct tape tab from here to here, fold it over.
Oh, that's golden.
Take another piece, do it 3 times so you get nice and stiff tab right here. So your duct tape sticks out right here. Everybody follow me so far? That way when you pull the large tab over here, pull it across, and it'll open it up. Do all that to your vacuum seal stuff.
That's golden.
I won't even charge you for that.
That's golden. The reason I'm saying that is because you want anything you're doing to be able to tear open with your teeth in your hand. Well, I have to explain that why. I ain't got no arm. So you will be able to tear it open with your teeth.
Even like this calls here, this just has a red pull tab.
Here, thank you, Vanna.
Hold on a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So even this red pull tab, you can run duct tape from here to here, fold it over so all the sticky sides sticking together here, and pull it off. And when you get done with it, fold your tabs in on each other, and it takes up no more room in your first aid kit than what it actually is. So I'll show you guys this Israeli bandage. I'm sure a lot of you guys have it on in your kit. You don't have it opened up, no big deal. I'll show you right here. So it has that 5x9 bandage here. This is a 6-inch version. You can use a 4-inch, depends on what you're used to working with. Bandage here.
Mine's adjustable as well.
So it comes across. This one has the plastic clip. It runs in, goes back across just like his, and then you can secure it. So this is just a pressure bandage. It's not a tourniquet as of right now. But let's say we put this on, you're like, man, that's still a lot of blood. That thing's still bleeding really good. Pull this off, go to that last band that you wrapped around, stick the plastic clip in, and rotate it. Now you just made a tourniquet and lock it into place. Now when you start spinning that windlass there, she's gonna lose color, she's gonna lose a pulse in her foot, you now made a tourniquet. So that you can wrap it around just like that.
And any of these bandages you put on like this, like when you put that on, if you wasn't trying to tourniquet it, I don't know if that's a word or not, but if you just want pressure bandage, you check that with what's called capillary refill on like the thumbnail or the toenail. It'll make sure capillary refills when you press it, and it goes white. You want to make sure it comes back to a flesh color.
Before you say capillary refill.
Right.
When it should come back. The time you say capillary refill, you're like, what the heck is that word? It should come back. Awesome, we're good. Thank you.
Been a while, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
I didn't actually bring one, I actually left it at home. But I know a lot of guys are tempted to run the tampons in your first aid kit. I do classes in Greenville, South Carolina, and every class I get to, someone comes and they've got a tampon in their trauma kit. And they're like, I'm gonna shove a tampon into the gunshot wound and rock on. It's not gonna work, guys, all right? And I didn't bring one because it's really fun, because men get really uncomfortable when you start holding a tampon. For whatever reason, they're like, that's awkward, I'm not touching that. So they get really awkward, and it's cool. Like, I'll pop it loose and show it to them. I'm like, all right, it smells fresh, it's good, it's fine. But the next time you get a chance, and you're in the bathroom, guys, sneak into the cabinet, open up your wife's tampon, and pop it loose. And just see how much gauze is not in there. Okay, there's not enough gauze in there to control bleeding. Now, they work good if you got a nosebleed. Take the tampon and stick up your nose. Okay? It smells
Send
nice.
me a picture. Please, I want to see that.
It smells nice. But for a gunshot wound, major trauma, those things do not work, okay? The maxi pads, it's a great idea, it works. I'm actually gonna put that on my YouTube video, on my YouTube channel. But the tampons themselves, there's about this much gauze in the pack itself. And then with like compressed gauze, anything else, there's enough gauze I can roll across the stage. So if you have tampons in your trauma kit, chuck it out.
And stuff like this, the question people ask when dealing with any of this stuff, be it this, be it, you know, you can bandage pretty good a bed sheet. But it's not sterile. It's not sterile, but it's not sterile. Okay, if you have a lollipop in the middle of a cow pile, and I put sterile gloves on, and I reach in there and grab that lollipop, is it safe to lick? I had sterile gloves on. Wounds are nasty. You get shot in a back alley, you're going to crawl through filth.
That's right.
I mean, there is such a thing as purposely putting trash in it, but if you get shot, you get cut,
part of whatever you was wearing is inside you now. It's going to be nasty. That's why all of us have cases and cases of antibiotics stored up for just such an emergency.
You've got to keep the red stuff on the inside. Okay, we're not carrying packed red blood cells. We're not doing that. We're not even doing transfusions. Okay, transfusions are dangerous. I don't know how much blood I'm taking out of me to give to Richard. What if there's a cross-contamination issue? So if we can keep the red stuff on the inside, that's super important. So one of the questions we do have, like he was talking about sterile bandaging. So this is sterile bandaging here. This is individually wrapped, this packed tight. You can buy boxes, cases of this off of Amazon. And they're good to have because like Richard was saying, when we get the bleeding stopped, now you have a really nasty wound, we need to figure out how to keep that wound clean and keep it from not getting infected so we don't die for 2 weeks from having a fever. But just to getting the bleeding stopped, I don't care if you use your t-shirt, her t-shirt, his t-shirt, whatever, get the bleeding stopped. And then we'll worry about keeping the wound clean and things like that. So you have 5x9s. Another thing you guys can find is like the 4x4s. So 5x9s are for moderate bleeding, 4x4s are for minor bleeding. You can find these boxes, buy them by the box off Amazon. Okay, that's a lot cheaper than going to CVS and buying them individually. You go to CVS, medical supplies are freaking expensive. So go to Amazon. You can use my Amazon affiliate link. Just throw that out there, and buy that kind of stuff, and buy it by the box. So buy this by the box. Put a little bit in your car, put a little bit in your house, a little bit in your shop. Move your medical supplies around. I'm a big proponent of having smaller kits throughout everywhere instead of having one big giant first aid kit. I know Tim was talking about having the big one in your car, and that's absolutely fine. But my wife and kids are at home right now. So if I had his big giant green first aid kit, but he was spot on by saying, label that thing, he's spot on with that. But if I had my big giant one here, what do my wife and kids have at home? Nothing.
The other big giant.
Who's yelling at me?
The other big giant one.
Yeah. Man, you must make more money than I got. So you split these things off. Put smaller ones in cars. Put smaller ones in your house and kind of move these things around instead of having one big giant one that you kind of take in and out of the house. Have smaller ones moved around. Same thing with your medicine. Go buy the big bottles, giant bottles of medicine, Tylenol, and put it in little smaller things. Because Tim was right when he said that these medicines go bad in the car. So instead of having a big giant 1,000-pill Tylenol bottle in your car that gets overheated and bad, run the smaller one in your car. That way, if it does become not as effective, because it doesn't expire, because it's not as effective, then you're only losing a few bottles. Okay? Medicines don't expire too, okay, by the way. They become less effective. So instead of having to take 2 Tylenol, you take 3 Tylenol.
Same thing with antibiotics. It may have to take 4 to get effective too. The biggest thing we have, the biggest problem most preppers, survivalists, however prepared people, whatever you want to call us, is we think that, okay, I've bought this, and this, and skinny. I've got so many boxes of this, I'm golden. Does anybody have a concept of how much bandages and gauze it takes for one hole made in the human body by something going 2,000 feet per second? That table and this table probably is not going to hold the bandages it's going to take. It takes a lot of material to stop blood. If any of you's ever been in the EMS, it is the back of an ambulance looks like you killed a hog back there most of the runs you make if it's bad trauma, car wrecks or whatever. So the number one problem you're going to have is you don't have enough. That's one reason for the bed sheets. All right? Because some people ain't going to have enough. Now, you can order it from Skinny, you can get it from him, eBay, Amazon. I know Caroline Readiness and Jan, you buy the case from them. They can order it for you wholesale or retail prices, whatever. But you would elaborate on how much it takes, how much bandage it's going to take.
And that's what I was talking to someone back there, and they were asking how much bandage to have in one kit. Well, that's kind of a weighty question. I mean, space is always an issue when talking about this kind of stuff. So to have it, you've got to have an initial response. So, I like the compressed gauze. It's vacuum sealed. When it's really tight packaged, when you open it up, it expands out. But I put as much gauze as I can do. Hemostatic agents work well. Again, I know they're expensive. Combat gauze retails for $45 for one pack. is expensive and it's going to go bad or become non-effective in 5 years. But if I'm bleeding out, what's 45 bucks? I mean, that's, that's what people talk about, like the tourniquets being expensive. The cat tourniquet's $30. But if something happens, you hit yourself with a chainsaw, what's 30 bucks when now you're trying to figure out how to improvise a tourniquet? So, and what do we talk about? Well, we're talking about the cool gunshot wounds. That's what everybody wants to talk about. So
It's the biker gangs.
the biker gang. We're gonna go after them. Chest seals. Okay. So anything from the neck, basically to the belly button, anything penetrating trauma, we seal it up. Seal it tight. That way air goes in and out the throat, not in and out of our chest right here. It doesn't work out so well. I like the vented chest seals now because now when pressure builds up, it allows the pressure to be released, whether that's blood or whether it's air that comes out. Also, just don't forget to check the back size. Because some of us shoot 9mm and they're fast, go in and out. Some of the bigger guys, like 45, they just stop when they hit something. And then there's confused people that are 40 cal guys. We have any confused people in here? So,
What do you shoot?
Huh?
What do you shoot?
I'm a 9mm guy.
All right.
Skinny and-
If you ever
skinny and
shot me with a
fast.
9mm and I found out about it, I'd be mad.
Skinny and fast. So, but just don't get to check the backside when you do anything like that. So, you have anything for a chest seal?
Do I have a chest seal?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The wrapper that comes in there.
Yep.
That's one.
So he's got the wrapper over there. You can make that wrapper, duct tape it on 3 sides, and it is a fantastic improvised trauma kit. I tell people when they're putting their trauma kit together, if they're on a budget, which is most of us, is to put all your trauma supplies in a Ziploc bag. That way you can use a Ziploc bag. Nice.
I can put that on the wound, duct tape it on there. I can even use this stuff, which you can buy for like 6 rolls for $6 at Tractor Supply.
I got tactical black.
I got tactical camo.
It's tactical, so it costs 10% more.
Exactly. But this is the, what's the generic stuff? That
Coban.
cornflakes?
Yeah.
Cornflakes?
Yeah.
Cornflakes. Anyway, this is a horse wrap. That's basically what it is. I get it. Like I said, I get 6 rolls for about $6, $7 at Tractor Supply. I could slap that on somebody, and I could wrap it up with that.
They even make it in pink. They even make that in pink.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, one of my daughters actually has it. It's tactical pink. But also in this Patriot bandage, you don't necessarily have to use those. You could use rag. You could use one of those gauze squares he has. You could use the blood stop gauze. You can use an old rag. You can use about anything in there for this part here. Because the key to this is actually the little loop.
I'm going to show off my tape. He's showing off his duct tape. So if you bought your $25 first aid kit from CVS and it said it had tape in it, it came with a little 1-inch roll of cloth tape. It had about this much tape in there. And like that's their version of cloth tape in there with 50,000 Band-Aids because it says it's a 1,000-piece first aid kit. So cloth tape. I like a good quality cloth tape because it tears easy and it sticks really good. The clear tape that you can buy from the medical tape, it does not stick very well. The good quality cloth tape will tear. You can buy it from 1/2 inch to 3-inch rolls. There again, buy it by the box, move it around different first aid kits, things like that. So I like the good cloth tape here. It'll tear nice and easy and sticks good.
I had a friend of mine the other day was telling me a story. He run a charter fishing boat. He was down in the Caribbean, and he said that one of the guys went to cast off with his big pole and his big hook. He said the hook grabbed him right here and ripped him from right there all the way around to his buttocks, as far as I would say, and just laid him open. He didn't have anything really on the boat to fix it except duct tape and a roll of paper towels. Yes, you can bandage with paper towels because it is the quicker picker-upper. He said what he done is he stuck it and he duct taped it. Just duct taped it. He said he called for a helicopter, which was an hour away out of Miami-Dade by air, and they come and got him, pulled him back. He said several Several hours later, they arrived back at Miami, and he said, I went and checked on him. He said he lived. And he said the doctor told him, he said, you saved his life. And he said the paper towels was not even soaked all the way through from his femoral artery. And he said you saved his life with duct tape. Because you pulled it so tight, it created its own tourniquet, made a tourniquet. So you can tell your neighbors, your loved ones, whatever, probably got that. Is it sterile? No. But you can bandage with it in a pinch. And duct tape. Gotta have duct tape.
Gotta have duct tape. So one of the things we talk about, we've got the bleeding control, is now you've got this really the bleeding has stopped, and now you have a really nasty wound. Now what are we going to do with it? Because now we've got to worry about infection. And inevitably, it's nothing against, and please don't be offended if I say this, you are, I apologize, we'll talk about it later. I'm skinny, so I'm going to probably run from me. I'm not a fighter. Is sutures. I know everybody has sutures, they want to suture, they want to do this, they want to do that. I'm going to suture that wound closed. I'm like, okay, what experience do you have suturing? Well, I took a 1-hour class at a prepper show 5 years ago. Okay. Your skills lax. Okay? If you don't use your skills, they go down. So now you have a really nasty wound that we shoved dirt in it, cayenne pepper, you can get the bleeding stopped, and then you get all this nasty stuff, and you're going to try to suture it closed. That's a problem, because now all that bad juju stuff is on the inside, and it's just going to fester until it becomes an infection. So I say that to say that sutures absolutely have their place in survival medicine, wilderness medicine. They have their place. But we don't typically have the skills to know when to suture, how to suture, and do a good job with it. So for me, I was a paramedic full-time for 13 years in a busy 911 system. My system ran about 80,000 calls. I worked 12-hour night shift. I've done about 10 calls in 12 hours. I started IVs like one-handed with my foot on the wall, upside down, I can start an IV. So now, I'm a year and a half off the truck full-time. I still work about 1 to 2 days a month now in the ambulance. But the other day, I was up in the middle of nowhere. A guy was really sick, needed an IV, so I gave him some medication. And I looked at his arm and go, oof, there's no veins there. And for a few seconds, I thought, man, this is going to be a tough stick. Where a year and a half ago, I just let that guy in the dark with my headset on and done it. It took me a shot to get it. I got the IV, thank goodness. But my skills already had gone, and I thought, man, that's it. That's the point. So having the sutures, you got to know when to suture, how to suture, and what to do, because if you don't, you're going to suture the bad stuff inside, and it's going to close up. So I brought some stuff to kind of show you some different ideas. I'm going to steal off him a little bit. So I like butterfly bandages, honestly and truly. Little stair strips, you can buy them by the box. You can start working on pulling the wound closed. You can see if it's nasty. You can start to see if it's getting infected. And we can talk about that in a minute because he's got some really cool sources for antibiotics. But we can start pulling that. You can see it. If you suture it closed, you have no idea that it's getting infected. So you have the little butterfly bandages. Now, if you have a wound and it starts smelling bad, it's leaking, and it's red, it's infected. Okay, a wound should not smell bad, should not be leaking anything out of it, and should not be red. If it is, you have an infection there. So, yes, I have sutures. I have them at our home. But is it going to be my first line? Probably not. Butterfly bandages. Can I see your duct tape roll for a second?
Sure.
Can I open it up?
I don't care. The thing about suturing is everybody's got the little suture kit, their little surgical kit. You ain't a prepper unless you got your little surgical kit. And everybody's like, well, I need some, I need some lidocaine to numb them. I need to numb them up before I sew them up, The thing about that is that's a nerve blocker. If you shoot that in the wrong spot, because you don't know what you're doing, you're going to go through the rest of the apocalypse going, yeah, it's over there. I'll come help you. Because you've just paralyzed their arm for the rest of their life. That's why butterfly sutures, that's why when you said that, I was like, yeah, butterfly sutures. I have put half my body back together at times with a butterfly suture. I like them.
So part of the reason why people don't like them is that they can't get them to stick. Okay? I don't have any arm hair. I'm gonna go through puberty one day, but right now I don't have any arm hair. So I don't have any chest hair either.
Most women don't.
I know. I'm gonna go through puberty one day.
That'll be done, that'll be done.
Change, it'll be fine. So you got your duct tape here. I make a tear right here. Make a tear on the other side. Some good duct tape. Tear. And tear. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I've made 4 small tears in the middle of the duct tape. I fold this part over in the middle. Go on the other side and fold it in half. What did I just make? A big old butterfly. There ain't a wound in this world I can start closing it with this big of a butterfly. Now, if you had scissors, you could make a little small one, just like that.
I don't want to meet that guy.
Yeah, I'm like, close up the stomach of this thing. So, butterflies, duct tape, that's more of a realistic, I think. Now, if you start cleaning up wounds, things like that, like Richard was saying, the lidocaine, you can't just go to Walmart and buy lidocaine. It doesn't work that way. Now, if you have a vet, that's another story, things like that. But IV supplies, you can't go to Walmart and buy IV supplies, normal saline and fit 1,000 back. But what you can go to Walmart and buy, this is eye and skin solutions. This is normal saline. That's all it is right there. So we start keeping wounds clean, this is what's going to help you do that. These are little saline flushes. I could probably squirt Bob in the back with this thing if I really tried.
Try it.
I should. You get like half this guy in the first row, I'd kill him. So, but you can buy this by the box off Amazon. These are saline flushes, 10cc saline flushes. You can buy them off Amazon. So when you start getting that wound that you're trying to clean up, you spray this in the wound, and it's going to get all the bad stuff out of it. This is basically salt water. It's all it is. And it's going to help you clean up the wound without suturing and things like that. Even Richard could do that.
He was talking about IV solutions. He can't tell you the stuff I can tell you. That's one of the reasons we're doing this. Is because he has license that can do too. I don't. I have a driver's license. That's it. You can go to Mid-Atlantic Medical Supplies. It's in Hudson, New York. www.Mid-Atlantic Medical Supplies, Hudson, New York. You can buy a 1,000 milliliter bag of Ringer's Lactate, which is blood expander. And you can buy abnormal saline, D5W, any of that stuff. It's about $8 a bag. And it is totally legal to get in North Carolina. So you can get IV solutions. But he can tell you that.
So we start talking about infections, and we talk about getting septic, infections, things like that. Now, I am not a proponent of, if you get a sore throat, pop yourself on amoxicillin, penicillin. Okay, that's how we treat superbugs. It's not a cool idea just because you have a runny nose to pop 500 milligrams of amoxicillin. It's not a good idea. But if you can't get to help, and it's weeks, months, something bad happening, you can't get to the hospital, antibiotics are going to be a lifesaver, okay? So in the military right now, if you get hurt, they pop you with some Motrin and antibiotics immediately. They're like, boop, here's that, take this, go shoot some more bad guys. So for me, in a grit down situation, absolutely. If someone got cut on their arm, I'm like, boop, here's some Motrin, here's some antibiotics, and roll on, okay? Because I don't want to take that small cut and turn it into an infection. So if I can beat the curve on this infection, I'm going to get ahead of it. Because once we start getting septic, means our heart rate's elevated, our respiratory rate's elevated, we're running a fever like 102. These antibiotics that Richard's going to talk about are no good. They're not strong enough. You need IV antibiotics. So if you can be ahead of the curve on these nasty wounds in a grit down situation, I would encourage you to do that.
When you start talking antibiotics, drugs, any of that stuff, let me give you a bit of information here. This is called the Nursing Drug Handbook, and this is the 2011 edition. They're not cheap, but you can find them on Amazon, eBay. This has every pill, every drug, injectable, everything in it. Tells you how much to give, what the side effects are, administration, everything. I suggest you have one of these if you are going to attempt gutter medicine. And that's what that's stuff I've got, is gutter med. But when you start talking injectables, antibiotics, one thing, put it on your list and have plenty of it, that's Benadryl. You pop somebody with you try to inject antibiotics in somebody, you better have some Benadryl on board before that, because you could send them into anaphylactic shock and kill them. So you want to have the Benadryl on board before you inject them, because this stuff is thick as molasses. And this right here is cow antibiotics. It is LA200. You can get LA200, LA300. It is oxytetracycline.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, I can't. This stuff does go out of date. It will become toxic if it goes out of date. It's about $8 in the refrigerated case at Tractor Supply. Now the key thing you want to look for in this kind of antibiotics is that picture right there of a hog. If you can give it to a hog, you can give it to a human. Hog, H-A-W-G, hog. You can give it to a hog, you can give it to a human. If the directions say 1 cc per 100 pound of hog, it's 1 cc per 100 pound of human. You can even get the needles at Tractor Supply on the same aisle just about it. But you can have that. Also, you can go online and you can get this stuff, fish mocks. They make fish mocks, fish sealing, fish pro, fish flagle, fish, I don't know, them fish is sick. But you can get any of that stuff, fish. Now, they have started putting it in little cellophane bags and powder. The reason they did it is because so many of them crazy preppers out there have been buying it at the store. So they're trying to make it where you can't store it. But you can go ahead and buy like acethromycin and in the little cellophane bags that's supposed to let oxygen in, pop it down in a mason jar, add you an oxygen absorber, you're good to go. Then if you ever want to take a powder form of this, mix it with some oatmeal, some applesauce or something, because it's going to taste like the inside of an inner tube. It's going to be nasty. So you want to kind of dock it. But fish mocks antibiotics, it's the exact same stuff. I've asked my doctor, my doctor and me's had some weird conversations over the years. But he said when he was in medical school, they actually toured a veterinarian pharmaceutical company, and he said it comes off the same assembly line. He said it actually comes down the line. He said the majority of it slides off this way and a little bit of it slides off that way. This slides off, it's labeled for veterinarian, and this is labeled for human. He said same stuff.
So in the United States, every pill has to have someone to identify it. So that way if I'm in the middle of crack pill at 2 a.m. and I see pills laying on the floor, I can realize what this is. I can look it up and see that it's oxymorphine, things like that. So what it is you look at that pill, you open that pill up, and it's blue and pink, it says WTF 630 on it. And you can Google that number, and it comes up with amoxicillin 500 milligrams. So you can open that bottle right there and put that in Google. I know we're not supposed to be using Google apparently. So research it and it pops up and it'll tell you that's amoxicillin 500 milligrams, so 250 milligrams. I'll add one more book to that, the Physician's Desk Reference Guide. Go back and get last year's edition of the Physician's Desk Reference Guide. You can find it on Amazon for like $35-40, and you can look up symptoms, what's going on. It'll tell you what medications to look at. It gives you adverse reactions, all of that kind of information. It tells you what medications to use. That way, like Richard said, we've got the 100-year-old lady that doesn't make the apocalypse. Throw one of his smoke bombs in there, we're going to take her medicine. So, not that we're going to take that, sorry grandma, but, hey, we'll do some stuff.
The other thing that's a big concern with the preppers, and I hear a lot at the prepper conferences, is pain management. And they're like, well, we need to get this, we need to get that. No, all you need is an ID of over 21 right there. Go to your local ABC store and stock you some of that up, because you're talking Civil War medication. To this day, the best thing to set a dislocated shoulder or a broke bone is that. You get them liquored up, it relaxes their whole body, and you can work on them better. It's legal, you don't need a prescription, you don't need a doctor's orders, and it's good stuff. Anyway,
Where we're talking about splints and things like that. Hey, hold on. I'm back in college again. That was sweet. That was sweet tea.
it is.
Holy crap. I'd like to hang out with your grandma.
Well, no, you don't want to bring out your dick.
Oh, I probably don't want to hang out with her then. So.
It's actually pretty good tea.
But splints is something else you may want to look at putting in your first aid kits, things like that for little kids. This is a aluminum splint. They make SAM splints that can fold up flat like this. You find off of eBay, things like that. I personally like the ones I sell because it has the Coban with it. Comes in a nice roll. And you get a broken arm, broken leg, even you can use it as a C-collar. This will work. Where's my lady I gave a hug to this morning? Yeah, right there. So she actually used one of my splints, went to the ER, and they were like, oh my gosh, you had a fantastic instructor. Right? Yes. She used it, it worked fantastic, and she had surgery, and she's good, she's cool now, and I got a hug this morning, so I'm happy. But the splints like this will work. You can buy them on the surplus market, you can buy them off eBay, Amazon, and they fold up flat, or you can buy the ones I have are in a roll. But these work fantastic because in an emergency, if someone's arm is bending right here, that's painful, okay, that hurts, and you have a problem bleeding. So if we can splint the injury in place, then we can.
Could you demonstrate how to put that on somebody?
Yeah.
Come forward.
You want to come here? Yeah. So, it comes nice and flimsy like this. The more you play with it, the more bends it gets, the harder it gets. So, we start making bends in it. Okay? So now, I've made a nice little channel, little bends in it. Now look how much, this has kind of been used for a few years, but see how more stiff it is? Sure. So, she has a broken arm right here.
We can't see here. Go to top side.
How about there? Oh, man. Now, can you guys see?
Yeah.
All right, so she has a broken arm right here. It's bending. When she waves, she has another elbow right here. Not good. So when you do put a splint on, you want to secure from here to here, secure above and below the joint. You can use newspapers, piece of wood, whatever. This is just a fancy way of doing this one. So I can roll the splint into here. I put her arm in there, bring it over. Now I can pull it here. I can use duct tape, Coban, triangle bandages, whatever I need to wrap this and secure it. If she'll hold her arm right there, now I've secured the arm. It's gonna be less painful, not gonna cause you as much pain, and it's gonna control bleeding because you can get internal bleeding from the fractures there, so you're gonna stop bleeding. So you can do it on your foot as well. Same thing, concept. You put your ankle in there, we come up on either side, roll there. The C-collars that EMS uses are there just to remind you not to move your neck. Okay, they do not immobilize your neck. They're just there to remind you to not move it. So I can bring this around, make a horse collar out of it, put some tape there, and have a C-collar out of this. How's that? Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. You done? Ready for the question and answer?
Yeah, I'm done. Actually, I have one more thing. Gloves. All gloves are not created equal.
Harbor Freight.
Yes. Try them on, put them on. Do not buy the clear gloves. When you put them on, you can still see your hand. Those are just for food preparation. Those are not for medical. So you can go to Harbor Freight, AutoZone, Lowe's, Home Depot, and buy gloves. That way, you put the gloves on, they don't tear. This will probably tear because I'm in front of a crowd. But put it on and I can still use it. It doesn't tear. If something gets caught, it doesn't tear. If your glove tears, you might as well take it off because it's not doing any good. So buy some good gloves. They make the sizes from small to extra large, have multiple sizes. There again, take that box and split it up. Put it in different first aid kits and move it around for yourself.
So those are like nitrile, so they last longer than the latex.
pretty much nobody is, there are very few companies making latex gloves anymore. 95% of the gloves, if not almost 100% of gloves you're finding on the market are non-latex. They're nitrile non-latex, so that way if you have a latex allergy and I touch you, you don't break out into a rash. So pretty much all gloves now on the market are non-latex.
Okay, questions?
Actually, just a comment. A PER physician desk reference. We've got several from our doctors that were like a couple years old. They're just, you get rid of them. We just ask them. So a lot of times you can get them pretty easily.
He was saying just ask your doctor for maybe their last year's version of their physician's desk reference guide. Because they get it every year something comes out. So he said ask your doctor, maybe they want to get rid of it.
Mike's not on. Handheld's not on.
Should we go over here?
I'm coming, Lee. I'm coming.
While he's walking back there, I do have a YouTube channel. It's not nearly as big as Engineer 775's. I have a YouTube channel as well, SkinnyMedic. I have about 500 videos on first aid. So if you're really bored, go look at that. And I do videos on all this kind of stuff. So.
I had a question about blood clots. If you're doing a tourniquet on somebody, I had heard that you're creating potential blood clots, and when they get to the ER, they're just going to amputate that limb. Is that true?
That is not true. I mean, you kind of are creating blood clots, but you're not. That's the old school thinking that if you're going to put a tourniquet on, you're going to lose the arm, and that is not the case anymore. Those trauma surgeons are phenomenal. I actually applied one, and it was a complete amputation, lower leg. I put a tourniquet on just above the leg. I tossed the leg onto the stretcher. We called blood to the hospital. The gentleman said that the tourniquet hurt worse than the actual amputation, but he survived, and they reattached the leg. It was a complete amputation.
Where could somebody go to get hands-on training to use all this stuff?
So I do classes in Greenville, South Carolina. We do them about once a month. If you go to medicalgearoutfitters.com, I do a one-day, 8-hour course. We start from the very beginning. So we take people who have no medical training. We teach them how to do a patient assessment, how to do blood pressures, vital signs, and then we take them in how to do tourniquets, pressure bandages, chest seals. We talk about moving through an active shooter or an active assailant scenario. And then you do a final scenario. I've got a really cool wound packing mannequin you guys can come see. So we'll do that. We have a class every month or every so. So if you go to Medical Gear Outfitters, you'll see trauma classes down there. And just keep an eye on we'll schedule them out in Greenville, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So not a bad drive at all for you guys.
How safe is it to use hydrogen peroxide on a wound?
So we've kind of really gotten away from using hydrogen peroxide. We figured out that took good and bad germs out of the body system. So if you are going to use peroxide, use it one time and that's it for a wound. We've really kind of gotten away from using it all on wounds. Betadine, if you'll mix the betadine, break it 50-50 with the saline solution, it does a much better job at creating that barrier against the germs coming in and doesn't take the good germs out of the body to help fight the system. So if you use it, just use it sparingly. Just use it very little, but betadine works a lot better.
How about colloidal silver?
Absolutely. Colloidal silver has its place, especially for burns. Colloidal silver works good. We used it in my little girl's earache, things like that. So colloidal silver absolutely has a spot. Fresh honey, raw honey works good for injuries. We use essential oils as well. Essential oils is not going to cure cancer, but then again, essential oils have its place. My wife is not here, unfortunately, but she is the essential oils expert in our family. And essential oils have their spot in this mess as well.
If you go to someone's house, like a neighbor, and they're doing crafts or a cook, you can use alum for moderate or minor bleeding, as well as powdered clay. Stops bleeding.
Does that have the same problem with the granulated, what's that stuff called?
So the
Chlorex,
Celox?
yeah, Celox. Does that have the same problems with it though?
No. So the first generation quick clot that came out that you may have seen like that in the Vietnam War, we found out, actually caused 3rd-degree burns inside the wound. So you pour it in there, it would cauterize the wound, seal it off, and it would stop the bleeding. But now you have a 3rd-degree burn that's going to get infected inside the wound. So now the new generation quick clot they've got out, it's in the galls, things like that. It doesn't cause burns. It doesn't generate the heat that it happened before. Celox is made by Biostat, made over in the UK. They're buying it like crazy right now in the UK for whatever reason. Go figure that. But it actually it uses your own clotting system to stop blood, to stop the bleeding. And so it uses your own system. So people who are on blood thinners, Celox actually works a little bit better than actually quick clot gauze on that situation. Also, when you get the bleeding stopped, quick clot has to come back out. You still need to get Celox out because it's going to gel up into a hard shell, and you have to still get that out. But if you leave some of it in there, it will break down into a simple sugar, and the body just absorbs it.
The thing with the granular, with the granular stuff, and that's how it used to be made up until probably 10 years ago, before they started putting it in sponges and wraps and stuff, was it basically you turn the bag open and you pour it in the wound. We found out in Iraq that we had actually killed some of our own troops with this stuff because the grains were coagulating and causing blood clots, and it was sending them straight to the heart, straight to the brain, and it was killing them. And that's the reason they're putting it in gauze now, to where you can rip it all out and it will not coagulate and form a blood clot around that grain. And that may be a problem with the alum you're talking about, because it may give you a blood clot and kill you.
Basically, I've heard the same thing about cayenne pepper. Some people believe it's the most wonderful thing to put in a wound, and others say it's going to burn you forever. So, which is it?
I've heard the same stuff too, and honestly, I've never tried it. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never tried it. To me, if you go and watch a femoral artery that's been bleeding out, you see it just gushing out, it's pouring out, you can completely bleed out your entire 5 liters of blood volume from the femoral artery in about 3 minutes. You're going to pass out in about 1.5 minutes. So if you've got a major bleed like that, I don't know that I wouldn't use cayenne pepper. But a minor wound to kind of moderate bleed, it'd be worth a shot. I mean, I'm not going to cut myself to find out. We'll cut Richard to find out.
I put it on beans. It's real good on beans. Let me give you just an experiment right here and then right here. Let me give you this experiment. Go home and get you a pint mason jar, fill it full of water. Go out in your driveway or in your garage or wherever and pour it out. And look at how big that blood is. And imagine that's blood. Imagine how much blood you got in your body, and it coming out, it's messy. It's messy. And some of that ain't gonna get stopped in cayenne.
You ever consider using a BP cuff for either a tourniquet or a pressure?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a good, if you have a brand new blood pressure cuff that's got the good Velcro, absolutely, you can pump that up when you can use it as a tourniquet. I don't like the automated blood pressure cuffs, the ones that use the batteries. I can't tell you how many times I went out to the little old lady who's 89 years old who takes her blood pressure every 15 times a day. And she calls me and says, my blood pressure is 200/1,000. And I'm like, why? You say that? Well, because this little wristband said that. Like, we take it as 120/80. So go to CVS, buy a manual blood pressure cuff, practice on your boyfriend, husband, not at the same time, and then do that. And you can get much more accurate readings. My wife was really mad when I practiced with my girlfriend.
We actually used to use it in like severe trauma, and that's what we're all here for, is the trauma. You can actually take your IV, wrap your BP cuff, your sphygmomanometer around that bag, that IV bag, pump it up, and it will WAO every bit of that liquid into the body, because if it's real bad trauma, you're not going to be able to get it in fast enough because the blood's coming out so fast. So you wrap your BP cuff around that IV.
I stopped the blood.
Pump it out.
I stopped the red stuff from coming out. So that's why my tourniquets, the pressure bandage, the combat gauze, I stop the red stuff, keep it on the inside. Air goes in and out, blood goes around and around.
Yeah. I'll make my way. Nobody gets the mic. We've been through that before.
Because of the fires we had last year and hope to heaven we never again have them, can you address smoke inhalation?
So yeah, that's a real danger, especially if you actually get soots in the mouth. You can look at airway involvement. You get smoke around the I can't talk either. Smoke around the nose, mouth, things like that. That can cause damage into the lungs, where it actually dries up our lungs. People with asthma are going to be more prone to that. They constrict the airway, things like that. So you've got the N95 mask work well for that to kind of help filter that. That's probably the best thing I would say is N95 mask. Just if you have a beard, those N95 masks are useless. They're not going to filter. You've got to be baby face like me. I shaved last week. N95 mask works good for those, and a good N95 mask is good for about 30 minutes, and then you got to change it out and get a new one. So again, if you're looking for N95 mask, buy them by the box, buy them by the case, because about 30 minutes, and the moisture's so bad, you can't use them anymore. Am I done?
Okay. 1 second. Say that to everybody.
Oh, okay.
This has just popped up, WLOS, part of Pisgah National Forest, closed Saturday afternoon near Sliding Rock, Asia Creek. It's US 276. Evidently deputies are searching for an armed suspect. So if any of you are going back over 276, you might want to go around.
All right, one more. I had one more question somewhere back here. Gentleman back here.
And you guys have more questions, I'll be back at my booth. I'll be back there, have medical supplies for sale. So if I sell medical supplies, I get to eat dinner. So my wife lets me eat, so come back and buy some stuff. Not to shame you, but I'm shaming.
On a less serious note, or something that's a lesser degree of severity than you've been talking about, have you had any experience with a countess or aloe for surface wounds? And can you comment on that, particularly some of the plants that you found effective and in what application?
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a huge expert on that. I know Alan does a much better job at talking things like that. Aloe, yes, definitely for like minor burns, things like that. We've used honey for minor wounds, things like that. It's a natural antibiotic. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not an expert on using plants, things like that. I know that dandelion's freaking fantastic. My wife, I stopped killing them in the yard, but I'm not an expert. We use essential oils as well. Lavender oil, things like that are going to work well for burns, things like that. All right.
All right, you done?
I'm done.
All right.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me talk.